Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakha Anvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today marks a very special day. Second. More special than the Janmashtami day, appearance day of Krishna. I will take a couple of minutes to share my heart, to serve as a prelude to the today's importance and the discussion. It's more important day than the appearance day of the Supreme Lord because of two reasons for me. One reason is Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is coming to this world is a big deal. And when he comes, the number of people that becomes devotee in a direct way actually is pretty less because his activities are very, very mysterious. It's inconceivable. We see it, we don't see it. An example is that when Krishna comes, he lifts the Govardhan hill, then it becomes like some superhuman act. That's all. It won't get into our heart. Or he marries 16,108 wives, and actually that takes away many people away from Krishna, saying that it's unethical, immoral, and so on. It's very, very mysterious. It doesn't make sense to the mundane eyes or moralistic eyes. There comes the glorious appearance day of Shri Guru or, or the our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada of the ISKCON organization, whose mercy and whose endeavors and whose blessings whole world is practicing Krishna consciousness, one person, because he resolved that mystery of Krishna's activities, and he teaches and takes the sincere seeker of the truth much closer and closer to the um, ultimate goal or ultimate end of life, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's one reason. Another reason, I was also thinking, we recite prayers before reciting the scriptures. One of the prayer we recite is, when will Srila Rupa Goswami give us his mercy? Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam. So when will the embodiment, the mercy embodiment of the Lord gives us a drop of mercy? That's our prayer. And we can find ourselves seeing that, witnessing directly the recipient of that Lord's mercy, Srila Prabhupada. And Rupa Goswami is not an ordinary personality. The reason we pray for his mercy is he knows and experiencing the signs of the topmost mellows of the Lord, topmost intimate dealings with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not getting into the details, what are those topmost mellows and so on. Maybe in essence, the interaction with the Lord as a very close associate in Vrindavan. There is nowhere that kind of intimacy is available anywhere in the material world or spiritual world. And Rupa Goswami, every sincere seeker prays for a drop of his mercy, and Prabhupada is the one. He was directly empowered and consoled and empowered and sent by Rupa Goswami from Vrindavan to the West Coast to establish ISKCON International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And it's more than 50 years. It's just rivaling. So very, very special day. I'm very grateful and thankful for the opportunity to a little bit bring my mind and attention and absorption on him, the personality behind our reading of Bhagavatam. He is the one who made this Bhagavatam a household affair, which was only maybe like about 150 years back. This Bhagavatam was only available at max 2 copies all over the world. The great personality named Bhaktivinoda Thakur, using his influence during those British times, he was a judicial officer. Using influence, got the copy, and then he made it more publicly available. But Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya, is the one who made this Bhagavatam a free gift for everyone. It is really, he is arranging the distribution or availability of this glorious literature in a way, begging actually, please take it, please keep it in your home. So with that prelude, we'll start these verses of this chapter um, the scheduled incarnations. We're going to reading 37 and 38. So the verse goes like this. Deva Tvisham Nigama Vattamani Nistitanam Purbir Mayena Vihitabir Adrushyatu Bihi Lokannatham Nati Vimoham Ati Pralobam Vesham Daya Bahubhashyat. Devadvisham means enemies of the who are of the devas or enemies of the devotees of the Lord. Nigama means Vedas, Vatmani on path, Nistitana well situated, Sthanam situated, Nistitanam, Nista well situated, rockets, Mayena made by the great scientist Maya, Vihita by Adrushya unseen sky, Lokad of the killers, Mati Vimo of the very attractive, Vidaya having will talk very much. Aupadarmyam, sir principles. Let's go to the word again. Deva Dvisham Nigama Vartma Stita Atheists, Deva Dvisham Nigama, after being well versed, Vartma Stitana, well situated in Nigama, scientific knowledge. What are they doing? Forbid. They're flying unseen on well created by the great scientist Maya and Adrishya flying unseen. Adrishya to be. They fly and so then when the people are doing like that, the Lord comes and what will do? Mati moham ati pralobam. Their mind will ati pralobam address and having done so, Bahubash Aupadhara. So one is Deva atheists in the Vedic knowledge, they it's called Maya, like how we have the scientists now. Um, so Mayena Vihita be they get this, they fly unseen and of problems. And I think then the Lord comes, he builds Vimoha, Ati Pralob by attractive and then the translation and purport. When the knowledge different planets flying unseen by led by the great the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing him attractively as Buddha approach sub the Lord say present in this different Kali Yuga in that of
Hare Krishna.
there is some
Prabhu, can you hear me?
yeah.
I mean, a lot of break. Your voice is breaking. I don't know if it is for me or for everybody. So I just wanted to ask. Hare Krishna. Others can hear?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I can hear just fine, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm having a lot of trouble hearing. Yeah.
Oh, a lot of trouble in hearing him?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I think yeah, same problem. I'm driving, I thought. So. The internet is an issue.
What to do is
Maybe on your phone you can speak, Prabhu, audio. You can share the screen on the, I think, laptop. You log from two devices, it looks like, right?
phone is the question. Okay. Think that internet okay.
You're doing something, Prabhu? I can't hear.
Yeah, bro, 1 second. I am getting close. Can you hear me?
Things are loud, but good.
Okay. Network. Not the one. Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Sharing the screen again. Close this one. You can see my screen also, right?
Yes.
Even in the phone also, can you hear me okay? I kind of see
Now I
it's-
can hear, Prabhu. I think you are maybe speaking on phone. Let me see. Yeah.
You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now also.
Okay. Okay, let me bring my heart back a little bit. Miss the flow. So I'll just start with the verse again. Devadvisham nigamavattmani nistitanam पूर्भिर्मयेन विहिताभिरदृश्यतुर्भिः लोकान्गतमतिविमोहमतिप्रलोभम् वेषं विदाय बहुभाष्यत औपधर्म्यम्. So the Lord is coming and teaching Aupadharmyam, the sub-religious principle for the people who are bewildering people or annihilating the different planets using the well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya. And that incarnation, the name of the incarnation of Lord is Buddha's purport. This incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali Yuga. In the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas. And in one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic and preaches common sense religious principles. Such ahimsa is not a religious principle itself, but it is an important quality for persons who are actually religious. It is a common sense religion because one is advised to do no harm to any other animal or living being because such harmful actions are equally harmful to he who does the harm. But after learning these principles of non-violence, one has to learn two other principles, namely to be humble and to be prideless. Unless one is humble and prideless, one cannot be harmless and non-violent. And after being non-violent, one has to learn tolerance and simplicity of living. One must offer respects to the great religious preachers and spiritual leaders, and also train the senses for controlled action, learning to be unattached to family and home, and enacting devotional service to the Lord, etc. The ultimate stage, one has to accept the Lord and become his devotees. Otherwise, there is no religion. In religious principles, there must be God in the center. Otherwise, simple moral instructions are merely sub-religious principles, generally known as upadharma or nearness to the religious principles. So, first part is Prabhupada is obviously clarifying the Buddha incarnation is not the same Buddha we know in this Kali Yuga. But we have to note this is also Kali Yuga period. This incarnation of the Lord is from different Kali Yuga in the different cycles of Manu and the days of Manvantara and so on. So, because it's a Kali Yuga, it is relatable to us, the traits, and we can also take lessons from that. So, the relatability is number one, there is a lot of technical advancement. So much so, there is scientist named Maya. Actually, he even got into the Bhagavatam, means he's a great person, obviously. He created these well-built rockets, and using that, they could fly unseen. And they were literally, what they're doing is not just destroying the place or even countries or continents, but actually they're annihilate inhabitants of different planets even. So, that is the level of advancement, modern technical advancement. When there is such a technical advancement, then the Lord comes as a Buddha avatar, and the way he attracts them is by his dressing himself attractively and also giving sub-religious principles. This is also very common for us. We have this great technical advancement of YouTube and Facebook and Reels and so on, social media. So there are many philosophers coming, and lot of videos on those sub-religious principles. We say sub-religious principle means it doesn't directly relate to the God, but some things that get closer to the God. So the first sub-religious principle Buddha was teaching is non-violence. We can also actually relate to it. I'm thinking now we have vegan and all those models, right? Pretty relatable. So and Prabhupada is telling here, after coming to the non-violence, before coming to the non-violence, but before learning these principles of non-violence, one has to learn two other principles, namely humble and pridelessness. So, Lord Buddha incarnation is one of the scheduled incarnation for that period of time. He teaching sub-religious principles, not directly God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, naming humility, pridelessness, and non-violence, and so on. So that can possibly bring them closer to the God. That's a little bit essence of this verse. We also have one more verse to cover, so we'll go on to that. Yerhi alvesh satam na hare katasyu pasandino dvijana vrishalan devaha swaha swada vasad iti sma giro nayatra sasta bhavishyati kalir bhagavan yugante. At the end of this yuga, which is Kali Yuga, Bhagavan Ji, the personality of Godhead, he appears when, what was the reason is that Yerhi alayeshu, Prabhupada translates as residence. We also know alaya as a temple also. So, but this alaya, as as we can pray, as you can guess, in alaya there are this devotee satam. Prabhupada again translates here satam as civilized gentlemen, but actually they are devotees. Yeah, and Na, not Hari of the personality of Godhead, They're devotees, but what they're doing is there is no topics of Harikatha, the top Hare Katha, and then this Pashandino, so then that qualifies them to become the atheists. They're so-called devotees basically, and they proclaim their so-called Dvijajana, the twice born or Brahmanas, and basically they are Vrishala Nudevas. Vrishala means the lower class people, and then taking up the position as the leader of the people. And in their presence, what is happening is Swaha Swada Vasad Ito Giro Nayatra. There is no mention of the hymns to perform sacrifices or ingredients to perform sacrifices. That time, Sasta, the Lord comes as a chastiser. Shasta Bhavishyati Kaler Bhagavan Yugante. We'll read one more time and we'll go to the translation purport. Yerhi Aliyeshu Api Satamna Hare Katasyu Pashandino Dvijajana Vrishala Nudevaha Swaha Swada Vasad Itisma Giro Nayatra Sasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante. So here the Lord is coming at the end of Kali Yuga. If the situation will be like in the previous verse, at least they were not Vaishnavas, they're not devotees, they're not Satam, they're materialists, but they have a lot of technical advancement. But this was they're actually Satams and civilized people, and they're supposed to they're supposed to do harikatha, sacrifices, and so on in the alayeshu, in the temples or residences. But they're just posing themselves as the thrice born or the brahmanas and taking up the leadership of the people of the place. Then actually Lord just comes and chastises them badly. Translation. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exists no topics on the subject of God, even at the residence of so-called saints and the respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Sudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the technique of sacrifice, even by word, at that time, the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Purport. The symptoms of the worst conditions of material world at the last stage of this age, Kali Yuga, are stated herein. The sum and substance of such conditions is godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher castes of the social orders, generally known as the Dvijajanas or the twice born, will become atheists. Caution this. As such, all of them will practically forget even the holy name of the Lord, and what to speak of his activities. The higher caste of society, namely the intelligent class of men, guiding the destinies of the social orders, the administrative class of men guiding the law and order of the society, and the productive class of men guiding the economic development of the society, must all be properly well versed in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowing factually his name, quality, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, and personalities. The saints and higher castes or orders of the society are judged by their proportion of knowledge in the science of God or Tattva Jnana, and not by any kind of birthright or bodily designations. Such designations, without any knowledge of the science of God and practical knowledge of devotional service, are considered to be all decorations of dead bodies. When there is too much inflation of these decorated dead bodies in the society, they develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of human being because of the lack of training or culture of the upper sections of social orders. They are no more to be designated as the Dvijajanas or the twice born. The significance of being twice born has been explained in many places in these great literatures. And again, one is reminded herewith that birth executed by the sex life of the father and mother is called animal birth. But such animal birth and progress of life on the animal principles of eating, sleeping, feeding, and mating without any scientific, culture, or spiritual life is called Sudra life, or to be more explicit, the uncultured life of the lower class of men. It is stated here that the governmental power of society in the Kali Yuga will be passed over to the uncultured, godless laborer classes of men. And thus, Nudevas or ministers of government will be the Vrishalas or the uncultured, lower class men of society. No one can expect any peace and prosperity in a human society full of uncultured lower classes of men. The symptoms of such uncultured social animals are already in vogue, and it is the duty of the leaders of the men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by the introducing the principles of thrice-born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This is the last sentence. Dear devotees, will pay attention. Out of these two verses, this is the one thing you want to take on. Let me read the previous sentence also. The symptoms of such uncultured social animals are already in vogue, and it is a duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform social order by introducing the principles of thrice-born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This can be done by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. The degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as Kalki Avatar and kills all the demoniac without mercy. Okay, we are having quite a bit of reading today. Two purports. I will be requesting if devotees on the call also can join to say something. Just raise your hand, please, if you're in a position to speak. But the 2 cents from my side is two inspirations from all this reading is Kali Yuga. There are 4 ages in every Yuga cycle. That is Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Satya Yuga. So, and these ages have symptoms, the duration of the life and the quality of the life and the culture and so on. So, the duration of the life in Kali Yuga is 100 years, and in Dwapar is 1,000, and Treta is 10,000, and Satya is 100,000. And the quality of the life is the best in Satya Yuga, and then degrades in Dwapara, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga is too much. We are not seeing the full effects of Kali Yuga yet, because right now, for us in Chicago time zone, it's an early morning. It's a nice breeze outside. The sun has not come fully yet. It is very very soothing. So similarly, when the day progresses, the sun comes, it's pretty hot. We cannot, be outside. Similarly, Kali Yuga also goes like that. Kali Yuga, the lifespan of Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years, out of which we are only at 5,000 years range. There is like 4,27,000 years more to go. We are really very, very fortunate condition or very beginning stages of Kali Yuga. So, but being the residents of Kali Yuga, there are also a lot of what do we say? Lot of free blessings or a lot of I'm not getting the right word. Lot of concessions. So an example of the concession is in the previous ages, if you think badly about someone or something, the karma will work. The karmic influence takes place. But in Kali Yuga, the karmic influence only will come into effect only when we do the bad thing. So in Satya Yuga, the quality of life is so much so even thinking, and entertaining any wrong thoughts is considered sinful. But that is taken away in Kali Yuga because it's Kali Yuga. On the same time, there is also blessings. There is also blessings in this Kali Yuga. Actually, Parshit Maharaj, I don't know if I can get it somewhere. Parshit Maharaj says in the previous canto, the blessings is there is easy access to God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. That's a blessing. Yeah, it's a nice verse if you remember. I mean, it's a very nice verse. I can try to find it. But yeah, that's the blessings we have in Kali Yuga. And the symptoms of the Kali Yuga, the future of the Kali Yuga, as Prabhupada is writing in the purport here, that the last sentence we were reading, the animalistic, the uncultured social animals are already in vogue. Vogue meaning they're already prominent. So we also have a magazine called Vogue. So this culture has become, just is in the hands of the social animals, and it's going to become bad and bad. So much so, even Krishna consciousness becomes like this. Just takes the name of the devotee, just inheritance, and say that we are the leaders, we are the saints, but there is no Krishna Katha, there is no trace of the sacrifices and so on. So much so, actually, the Lord has to come and really like chastise them. But Prabhupada is encouraging how can we protect ourselves from that influence of Kali Yuga, or this uncultured, the unculture we're having is by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. So somehow or other, we have to take it on us. Today is also the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. He did it by himself. The important part of the day, early morning of the day, he spent at least many hours, 2 to 4 hours, translating this Srimad Bhagavatam, studying this Srimad Bhagavatam, translating it to us, and we are all having nice time. Similarly, we also can take up the job of reading this Srimad Bhagavatam with affection, with heart, and we can stay protected, and we can also pass on this protection to whoever we can interact with. That's it, dear Prabhu. Just it's a little bit, it went a little bit overboard to me. the technical challenges and the little bit I had to rush and do purpose. Could you all please share some inspirations? Something that can help me out. Please say something about Prabhupada or Bhagavatam on this glorious day.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances always to Srila
Please
Prabhupada.
accept my presence, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful discourse. I have a question so what does this imply about the composition date of Srimad Bhagavatam? Like, did Buddha appear? So I was originally under the impression that it was written before the life of Buddha. But if Buddha is mentioned in the text, that would mean that the text came after.
Oh, okay, Mataji. I'm really hoping to hear some inspirations. If you can share some inspiration or one or two, then we can go to the questions. Is that okay?
Sure, Prabhu.
Yeah. You want to share something, Mataji? Some appreciation for Prabhupada or Bhagavatam?
Sure, Prabhu. So as you mentioned, so when I got inspired to read the books, I had had watched a short clip about Srila Prabhupada's book in terms of like, let's say if you're going to the office and then your boss gives an assignment and you work on that assignment whole night and days, right? You spend hours and hours on that, and you go to office and you try to present that particular assignment, and your boss says, no, this is not the right time, and he keeps delaying or she keeps delaying. And then imagine the feeling that we have because we had spent so many hours on. So that I always remember that story when when it comes to Srila Prabhupada book, reading Srila Prabhupada books, and that how much hard work and he has done for not to benefit the mankind of Kali Yuga, as you rightly mentioned. So that particular story is one of the inspiration for me, Prabhu, when I read or when I forget to read Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wow. So basically, like, you feel that a lot of hard work is done. It is not proper, not doing our hard work of receiving it.
Right.
Or it. And so on. Nice. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, let me also call another devotees who also are on the call. And then we'll come to your question, Mataji, okay? So we have Gonmoni Mataji, Devimati Mataji, Anita Mataji. Can you, if you are in a position to unmute, can you be able to share something on some appreciation for Prabhupada or Bhagavatam? Lakshmikant Prabhu is also there, I think.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my obeisances of Gaurish to Srila Prabhupada. I'm just thinking about yesterday's class, how Nityan Pran Prabhu mentioned that if it wasn't for Prabhupada, none of us would be here discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Especially his purport and his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. It's really such a, just as it says in Bhagavatam, it's such a light in this darkness of Kali Yuga. Because these teachings actually, especially in times of difficulties, it really puts a light into what one needs to focus on, and what one shouldn't. So it gives a lot of strength, I would say, just being under Prabhupada's shelter and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. The teachings are really timeless and priceless, and it can be applied for any age group, caste, creed, age, religion, doesn't matter. So we are just, personally I'm feeling we're so fortunate to have come across Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It's a very soothing because I was also remembering Vyasdev also shows the Bhagavatam and says, this is where you get the light. So, and very grateful to Prabhupada for making it available to all of us. Actually made it household easily. You can touch it and feel it and everything. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so we'll Kalpataru Mataji. So you're concerned about the what is it?
The order of like the Srimad Bhagavatam came. I mean, what does it basically imply? The composition date of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Composition date, right? Yeah. So here, like when we go back to the text 37, it says, when the atheists, after being well versed, and they're doing all these things, and it says, the Lord will bewilder their minds. Okay, so this text is saying in future. Okay, then you go to the next verse. Again, the same thing here. When nothing is unknown of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear. Okay, Mataji. Okay. So the composition, the actual composition is right as mentioned in the 4th chapter of the 1st canto, in the beginning days of Kali Yuga.
Okay.
Okay, or just before beginning days of Kali Yuga. Yeah, around that Sandhya. And we asked at least like Vyasa revised it, and after that it was spoken to Maharaj Parikshit. That means it is after the Kurukshetra battle, and after Maharaj Parikshit becomes the king, and almost like at the end, Kali Yuga started with Maharaj Parikshit, but it couldn't come into force until he leaves the world. Right? You know that, right? From the 1st canto.
Yes. Yes.
So that is the composition date. And Bhagavatam for the same verse in the 1st canto, 3rd chapter, there is a mention of Kalki Avatar comes in the 3rd chapter again, 1st canto. There Prabhupada mentions that this is the power of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam does past, present and future. Okay, so the Bhagavatam is now predicting what is going to come also. So that clarifies, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. I think we are coming to close with that.
Can I say something, Prabhu?
Oh, for sure, Prabhu. How is it possible without you saying anything?
Thank you for the opportunity. Now I was thinking about, you mentioned about Prabhupada. So he made the Srimad Bhagavatam as an household affair, right? I mean, we can feel it, touch it and all, right? I mean, the way he wrote the purports, I mean, otherwise, yesterday, like Nityananda Prabhu was telling, it remains like a stories. I mean, we heard all these, stories when we were small children, right? But before we came to know when Prabhupada's teachings. So they all remain like a stories.
But Bhagavatam also has no value, no? There is not much value if there is no Prabhupada's hand.
Not there, yeah. So, of course, Bhagavatam is the literal incarnation of God in this case. I mean, when Krishna left, we are able to do that, at least hold it because of Prabhupada. Even without Prabhupada, even that Bhagavatam would not have, we would not have made it as a, we would not have understood what is there in that. Right? I mean, it's a Bhagavatam, it is a lot of, importance, but we don't understand what it is in it. I mean, now only it's very difficult, but yeah, without Prabhupada's teachings, right? But he made it so easy. I mean, because all his followers are teaching us, helping us to understand it. But I mean, it is, I mean, we were reading the Narada Muni's instructions to King Prachinabari in the fourth canto. There, I mean, after all the allegories, couple of them, right? So Prachinabari realizes, so I did not hear this from my teachers, he says, right? Even at that age, right? I mean, at that age and time, I mean, it was in Satya Yuga, right? People, I mean, the spiritual,
Wow.
he's a king. He's not a normal person.
Yeah.
Like of the universe. His
Yeah.
teachers are teaching what is supposed to be, I mean, the ultimate truth. Right?
He's a descendant of Manu also.
Yeah. So he was doing all kind of, I mean, fruitive activities, yagnas, I mean, karmakanda, yagnas and all. So when Narada Muni reveals to him, he says that this is not what I heard. Right? I mean, then, but from for us, I mean, it was so difficult. I mean, when Narada Muni teaches this is what ultimate truth is, right? So he kind of opens, I mean, he realizes, right? It got revealed. I mean, in this, for us, right? I mean, from the day one when we come in contact with Prabhupada, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? I mean, no other teachings. I mean, there are a lot of other things, but we take it. I mean, when we get into it, I mean, it is such a topic. I mean, the king of the universe in the age of Satya Yuga doesn't know, right? I mean, until I mean, like
just going on doing karma kandas, killing the animal more and
so
more.
for us, I mean, Prabhupada made it so easy, right? So I mean, it is, I mean, for a common people, like anybody on the street, right? Like us, I mean, like me, I mean, to be able to hold Bhagavatam and understand. So understand the ultimate truth. I mean, right? So I mean, at least theoretically, right? Know what it is. So I mean, it is such a thing Prabhupada did to this world. So I don't think anybody will be able to do it this extent and this age and time, Prabhu. I mean, Jagat Guru. So thank you so much, Prabhu. That's what I think.
It is so inspiring that Prabhupada is alive and Bhagavatam is alive. That's all we need. That's all. By the association of this great saint, the devotion for sure will rub off on our hearts. And the love of God, it will surely come. So only thing it needs is little sincerity. So with that, I want to share this little secret.
One small thing, Prabhu. When he came to America, he all carried his Srimad Bhagavatam, the hard thing. Of course, few rupees or whatever he had. Physical thing. I mean, of course, his heart is there with him. I mean, he was coming with that, but the holy name and all. But the physical thing carried his Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So, thank you, Prabhu.
We are really blessed to have the association of those who are taking this Bhagavatam this seriously. Yeah. So this is the secret I want to share. Two things I want to share. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here is note the words attention and submissively. What happens when by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord will get established within the heart. We can tangibly feel the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's interesting, no? You can tangibly feel. So that's a specialty, and the specialty of Bhagavatam is so high, and this specialty will become heightened when it was emanated from the lips of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Sukha Mukad Amrita Drava Samyuta Pibata Bhagavatam Rasalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvivavaka. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectar and juice was already relishable by all. Making the connection, the previous verse, Bhagavatam is so relishable. It only needs attention and submission. But it has become even more tasteful when it was emanated from the lips from Sukadeva Goswami. And what to speak of when it emanated from Srila Prabhupada, right? That's it. Anyway, small appreciation to our dear founder Acharya for all his love. We also wish to offer a little love from our side as a grandchildren in reciprocation for his compassion. We don't have any relation with him, but he cared. He thought about our welfare. So I will offer a prayer on this day, as Kalpataru Mataji shared, I pray for the blessings of doing the hard work of studying this great literature, how he had written or translated to all of us. So that is my closing notes, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. We'll have more appreciations or glorifications. Okay, with that, happy Nandosa, happy Prabhupada's appearance day. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your best association.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.